During the last weeks of his life, Thomas Jefferson wrote a letter to the mayor of Washington, D.C. He was declining an invitation to join the nation's celebration of its 50th anniversary. Jefferson was 83 years old, and his health was declining. But his pen remained as capable as ever, and he wrote inspiringly about the meaning of the creation of the United States and declaring independence. Jefferson wrote that he enjoyed the fact that our fellow citizens continue to approve of the choice we made. He believed that eventually all people around the world would assume the blessings and security of self-government. As we approach the 250th anniversary of the American Declaration of Independence, it can be hard to imagine how uncertain those first revolutionary years of creating the United States must have felt. From 1776 on, generations of people have worked hard to define and to redefine what it means to be an American. By the 1820s, after nearly 50 years of independence, Americans reflected back on how far they'd come. By that point, the Declaration of Independence had become a revered document. A patriotic tenor followed the War of 1812 in the United States, and throughout the 18-teens, printers sold commercially available prints of the Declaration. Thomas Jefferson received two of these, the Benz and Tyler engravings, and displayed them at Monticello. But when most people picture the Declaration, the image that most likely comes to mind dates to the 1820s. When John Quincy Adams was serving as Secretary of State, the government commissioned William Stone, an engraver from Washington, to create an original facsimile of the text and signatures. Adams was, of course, himself a son of the former president, John Adams. The senior Adams had served as a member of the Committee of Five, tasked with drafting the Declaration. For John Quincy Adams, this task likely felt personal. The precise method Stone used to make such an exacting replica is unknown, but the large full-size 24 by 30 inches and the preserved copper plate held by the National Archives rendered this engraving an uncommon achievement. The degraded quality of the original 1776 engrossed copy of the Declaration on display in Washington leaves the Stone engraving the most legible and commonly reproduced image of the founding document of the United States. Today, less than 50 of the original 200 parchment copies of the 1823 Stone printing are known to exist. But in keeping with its history as a commemorative endeavor, 7 additional copies were pulled from the original copper plate in 1976 for the bicentennial. John Quincy Adams reflected on the meaning of the Declaration of Independence shortly after he ordered the Stone, in what was probably the most well-known speech of his career. When we think back on the founders, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson figure prominently. They famously disagreed on matters of policy, but agreed on shared values. Jefferson's words and Adams' advocacy gave the United States a vision, one we've been striving towards ever since. For John Quincy Adams, thinking on his father and his father's oldest collaborator, both still living elders, when he said these words on July the 4th, 1821, he honored that vision and articulated it anew. He said, "America is the well-wisher to the freedom and independence of all."